Sophia, Sophia, could you come here for a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
Pour some more wine.
Yes, ma'am.
But... oh no. Oh, what is it, George? Oh, that. Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, well, I don't want to cause any trouble.
Nonsense. What does it matter, George? Stop being overly pedantic. But... Don't you think you've had enough, Mother? Do you let the staff speak to you like that? Come on. Let George pour the wine. He just wants to look down your dress. Come on, let George pour the wine. Just let him pour the damn wine, would you? It's his job. You stay out of it, boy. If your mother wants the girl to pour the damn wine, then the girl will pour the damn wine. It's starting to put a strain on my voice, all these accents. And I'm definitely forgetting them. If you're from Glasgow watching this, I'm not sorry.
An interesting little rat, isn't he, Daddy?
Yes, he is. Why can't you ever keep your mouth shut, boy?
Perhaps I did speak out of turn, I apologise.
No, don't lose your temper, Father. Maybe you're the one who needs to shut his mouth. That's too nice, the first one. Careful, Father. There's no need to make a scene at dinner. I'll show you a scene. Get over here. Malcolm, please, let's not permit his behaviour to ruin dinner. Yes, I suppose you're right. You can count your lucky stars, boy.
Sophia, could...
Forgot her voice.
Sophia, could you come here, please? Yes, Miss Jennifer.
I've wanted to say that was the loveliest meal I've ever tasted. I don't know how you do it, you cunning pixie.
You're too kind, miss, of course. I'll have tea and cakes for you in the drawing room as usual after dinner.
Oh, you are so good to me, you sweet thing. So very, very good to me. None for me, I'm full. I wouldn't mind some of your hot cakes. Hot cakes? I'd definitely like to play this as just some kind of rampant pervert. Would you two stop flirting with each other? Sophia isn't interested in your advances, sister. Leave the girl... See, if we do this, we could put it that she's found the letter and she's disgusted that... Oh, sorry. We can have it that she's disgusted that she's found out she's a big old lesbian and that she fancies her and has been like, oh, I'll kill her. Leave the girl alone, will you, sister? She obviously is not interested in your advances. Shut up, rat! You ruin everything! Aaron, don't accuse your sister of such things, that's quite enough. Anyway, let's not forget why we are here today. To celebrate your father's birthday. Such a very important occasion for us all. You are so dear to us, Malcolm. Happy birthday, Daddy. Indeed. Happy birthday, Father. Let's hope it will be one to remember. Doing the deed. Now it's time to quickly plant the items of evidence you have. To do so, quickly enter the desired room and select the item in your inventory. When you're ready, enter the drawing room and do the deed.
Can't remember what the button is to... You decide to conceal this item underneath the maid's pillow. That ought to be quite incriminating. See, my plan is I'm gonna... Once you've killed her, you've got to try and quickly as you can meet with someone. I'm gonna go meet with this guy. The servant, Malcolm, whatever he's called. Because I've been buttering him up, I've been real nice to him, so hopefully he'll go easy on me. Are you sure you want to enter the drawing room? Once inside, there's no turning back. You see Jennifer standing, staring out the window ahead of you, lost in one of her strange moods. She hasn't noticed you enter the drawing room. Now is the time. Christ, this is loud. She struggles valiantly as you cut her throat open, but you manage to hold her in place until finally she goes limp. You drop her lifeless body to the ground along with the broken glass. It's time to leave this room before your deed is discovered. 9 seconds. Now I've got to think of another cartoony accent. Jesus. Good evening. There, then, now. Good evening, everyone. I am the Chief Inspector Winston Lewis. I understand that this is a difficult time for your family. That's fucking awful, isn't it? I understand that this is a difficult time for your family. You're damn right it is. I want to know what you're doing wasting time in here while my daughter's killer is still out there. Oh man, my ears are hurting with these headphones. And all the music has stopped. Well, Mr. Bruce, we have found no evidence of forced entry, and nobody was seen entering or leaving the house. It would seem that fucking hell, my Irish accent's awful. You wouldn't think that most of my family are Irish. It would seem entirely possible then that the killer is in this room. What? No. That seems highly unlikely, Inspector. Perhaps it is. However, in order to follow protocol, I'll have to interview each of you in turn. Miss Bruce, would you like to meet me in the library first? I suppose so. The interview. Bugger me, I didn't expect this to take so long. Thank you for joining me in here, Mr. Bruce. I'm sure this won't take long. Before we begin, I'll need to search your person. Best to get these formalities out of the way. Is this really necessary? I'm afraid so. Turn around, please. Now that's out of the way, let's move on to the interview. It's fine to have some sound back. As you know, I've already spoken to everyone else who was present in the house at the time of your sister's death. We've also now completed our initial search of the house, but we'll get to that later. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? First of all, we'll run through all of your activities since your arrival. The maid says that you and the butler arrived shortly after 7 o'clock, and she greeted you at the door. Later you had to speak to the maid again, which is curious. Pardon me. Why did you decide to visit the kitchen? To make well, we'll be honest, to make sure my family was treating her well. We're not perving on her, so we can't be like, oh, I was pursuing her, even though I would have liked to just perv on everyone. I had some concerns about the way she was being treated. My family can be hard on new staff sometimes. That seems like a good reason. I understand that the two of you spoke about your father and his temper. Yes, I wanted to be sure he wasn't abusing her. My father has a vicious temper. I wanted to make sure she wasn't making her... He wasn't... I wanted to make sure he wasn't making her life miserable. He often likes to... I mean, gender identity is a construct. And if my father was a she, did consider that for all intents and purposes they were a woman, I'd accept that, but no, it is he. He wasn't making her life miserable. Oh, he wasn't. I see. Has he always had a temper? Yes, always. Later on, you had a conversation with your mother, Gloria, in the parlour. At the time, your mother brought up the subject of your sister's health, and you seemed quite unconcerned about it. It's not in my nature to show concern. I was tired of hearing about my sister's health. Actually, it was my mother who was unconcerned. We're gonna go with that one. I was concerned. I just tend to be quite reserved in how I express it. Yes, you do seem like quite a reserved person. Fair enough. You went to see your father in the library. I understand your conversation became quite heated. My father has always had a temper. Of course it did. My father is an irritating man. Actually, I thought the conversation was civil. He's always had a temper. We've already said that. My father has a very short fuse. Many of our conversations go that way. Would you say he has a violent temper? Absolutely. I see. That's good to know. You discussed the prospect... Oh, fuck. You refused to do so under any circumstances, I understand. I couldn't bear another day living with my family. Of course, I have already made a life elsewhere. I may have considered it in the future. My father fails to accept the fact that I have my own life now. I can't just move back here. Of course not. That's completely understandable. What this basically is just like a memory test in all the things we've done. Let's discuss your conversation with the butler. I understand you spoke about the new maid, Sophia. The butler seems to have some concerns about her. He told me that the new maid is a bully. He was concerned. He was only concerned with what's under her dress. He was just afraid of his impending retirement. He told me that the new maid is a bully. He told me that the new maid is very domineering and was looking to force him out of his job. I believe cold and heartless were the words he used. I see. Interesting. Did you speak to your sister before dinner? Yes. I went to her room to see her. I see. And what did you discuss with her? Dear Den. What did you discuss with her, dear Den? No. Just small talk. We discussed her illness and her obsessions. Nothing at all. She insulted me and I left. It was brief, as most conversations I've had with my sister. She called me a rat, and not wanting to be insulted further, I soon left her room. Did that make you angry? To be honest, I was used to it from her. That might have fucked us up. I can't remember what we did when we visited the sister. Let's move on to the events that took place during dinner. I understand there was an argument involving the butler. You felt he was being treated unfairly. My family have always treated the servants poorly. Someone has to stand up for the servants around here. My family treats them like dirt, which is consistent. We've already said we're checking on the maid to see she weren't being bullied, and we've already talked to the other servant, checked he was alright, that he wasn't being bullied. Indeed, it was good of you to do so, Mr. Bruce. I gather that your father lost his temper at one point. Just the usual, he always has a temper. My behaviour gave him cause to be annoyed. He does always lose his temper, but I apologise, so I'm going to say it's my behaviour. I confess I was probably the cause of that. I was trying to I see. Well, it's good of you to admit that. Apparently you accused your sister of making unwanted advances towards the maid. Well, someone needed to talk to her about it. I felt it needed to call attention to it. She was embarrassing herself. So your sister had strong feelings for the maid? Yes, very strong feelings, but I'm not sure the maid knew anything about it. I see. Now I needed to ascertain your location at the time of your sister's death. Where were you when you heard? Fucking hell. Ground floor. Fuck's sake. Fire, library, parlour, storage room. I was in the fire. Shit. Fuck's sake. As I said earlier, we have completed our initial search of the property. We found a poem written by your sister, which appears to clearly express romantic feelings towards the maid. Given that we have found it in the maid's room, we can be sure that she had read it. Perhaps it is proof that the two of them were involved in a secret relationship that will make her a suspect. I'll certainly have more questions for her at least. I'm curious about the murder weapon. The broken glass seems to have come from one of your sister's mirrors. We found the rest of it in the maid's room. We've established that you have been to the servants' quarters this evening. However, we can't rule out suicide, especially given your sister's mental condition and her obsession with mirrors. It is all very interesting. To be completely honest with you now, Mr. Bruce. Oh, for fuck's sake. I got like one thing wrong. Two at best. Your behaviour this evening has given me a cause for suspicion. However, I'm more concerned that you lied about your location at the time of your sister's death. Also, I must regard your father as a suspect, even though the evidence is far from conclusive. But I feel quite certain that the maid isn't telling me something. Despite her condition, I don't believe your sister committed suicide. Now as for what happens next. I'm going to ask you to accompany me to the station for further questioning. Am I under arrest? Not currently, Mr. Bruce. Unless you want it that way. Although, I think I'll have some more further questions for your father later. My accent's gone all over the place. It wasn't even good to begin with. Next, I'm going to have to arrest the maid. A verdict of suicide seems unlikely, I'm afraid. Hopefully I did enough. Though you were brought for further questioning, the police determined that there was not enough evidence to arrest you. Sophia, the maid, as the only one to be arrested, remained the prime suspect. After a long and difficult trial, she was finally convicted of the murder of your sister in a very controversial verdict. The case caused quite a scandal in the national media, and Sophia gained a lot of unwanted celebrity in the process. She became known in the public imagination as the Killer Chambermaid. With no other heirs remaining, your father reversed his plans to cut you out of his will when your parents died. You inherited everything. Dunshield House was yours, along with the fortune that came with it. However, George the butler found himself unable to continue serving in the place after what had happened. As you spent many long, sleepless nights wandering through the rooms of the house, you found that its emptiness was reflected within yourself. You'd become hollow inside, free of everything but the nightmares that continued to haunt you. Don't live in the fucking house. Sell it. Why would you live in the murder house? Anyway, that was the deed. We succeeded. We succeeded in murdering our sister. Which, isn't really something you should be proud about, but it was close. I got the location of where I was during the murder wrong, and that almost completely fucked it up. But it doesn't matter. We did it. We successfully murdered someone. I've been Tyrone. This has been The Deed. Have a nice night. A nice life, even. Have a good day. Have fun. Have a grand time. Don't do accents like I do them. Bye.